We live in a world where comfort is everywhere. Soft beds, endless entertainment, convenience, and distractions. Life can feel almost too easy. Every day the world whispers to us, relax, take it easy, don't push too hard, avoid struggle. And it is tempting. It feels safe. It feels good. It feels like life itself. But if we listen too much to comfort, we risk losing something far greater. Because we were not made for comfort. We were made for greatness. Comfort is deceptive. It can lull us into a sense of security while keeping our true potential hidden. Think about it. How many people settle for a life that is good enough, instead of reaching for what they were created to do? How many dreams are left unrealized? How many talents are left unused? Because comfort seemed safer than challenge. Comfort is not evil, but it can be limiting. And greatness, true greatness, requires stepping beyond what is easy. Throughout history, God has called people to rise above comfort. Saints, prophets, and ordinary people who lived extraordinary lives were rarely comfortable. Their lives were filled with challenges, sacrifices, and trials. But in those moments they discovered their true potential. Saint Catherine of Siena left the comfort of her home and family to care for the sick, advise rulers, and reform the church. She did not seek comfort, yet her courage and faith inspired generations. Saint Francis of Assisi gave up wealth, security, and ease to serve the poor and embrace a life of simplicity. Mother Teresa left her homeland and a life of comfort to care for the poorest of the poor in Calcutta, dedicating her life to those who were forgotten by the world. These examples remind us that greatness is rarely found in ease, but in faith, courage, and sacrifice. Greatness is not limited to the saints or historical figures we admire from a distance. Every person has a calling, a purpose, and a gift that can impact the world. God gives each of us unique talents, passions, and opportunities, and He calls us to use them fully. Comfort may feel safe, but it keeps us from discovering what we are truly capable of. Every time we face a fear, step outside of what is easy, or choose courage over convenience, we take a step toward greatness. Think about your own life. How many times have you wanted to speak up, take action, or pursue a goal, but chose comfort instead? How many times did fear whisper, "It's too hard. Stay safe"? Every one of those moments was an opportunity to grow, to challenge yourself, and to embrace the greatness God placed within you. Life asks us again and again to leave comfort behind and reach for purpose. Greatness does not always mean fame, wealth, or recognition. It means living in alignment with the gifts God has given us, using them to make a difference, and staying faithful to our calling. Sometimes greatness is quiet, a teacher who inspires a student, a parent who sacrifices for their children, a friend who gives time to someone in need. These acts may seem small, but they are mighty in God's eyes. True greatness flows from love, faith, courage, and selflessness. Even in ordinary life, comfort constantly tempts us. We can choose to stay in routines, avoid challenges, or pursue the easiest path. Yet God's call is different. Faith itself requires leaving comfort behind. Following Christ often means facing trials, stepping into the unknown and trusting God's plan rather than our own desire for ease. When Jesus called His disciples, He did not offer them comfort or security. He offered them a mission. He asked them to leave their nets, their families, and their familiar lives to follow Him. That call demanded courage, sacrifice, and trust in God. and in that call they found their true greatness. So how do we embrace greatness in our own lives? The first step is to recognize your calling. Reflect on the gifts, talents, and passions God has placed within you. What are you meant to do? What difference can you make in the world? Then, take steps to step outside of comfort. Growth never happens in ease. It happens in challenge. When you stretch yourself, try new things, face fears, or endure difficulties, you are moving toward the purpose God intended for you. Greatness also requires service. True greatness is never selfish. It is measured not by what we gain for ourselves, but by how we impact the lives of others. Look for opportunities to help, to teach, to guide, to comfort, to inspire. Even small acts of kindness or courage can have enormous effects. These actions often demand leaving comfort behind. They require effort, sacrifice, and sometimes courage to act when no one is watching. But in these moments, God's purpose for us is revealed. Perseverance is another key aspect of greatness. Life will test us. Challenges will arise. Fear, doubt, and fatigue can tempt us to return to comfort. But greatness requires endurance. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger, to deepen faith, and to discover the potential God placed within us. Remember, the saints did not become great overnight. They persevered through trials, doubts, and hardships, trusting in God's plan. And above all, greatness requires trust in God. We do not face challenges alone. God equips us for the calling He gives us. He walks with us, strengthens us, and provides wisdom and courage when we need it most. Trusting God means believing that the discomfort, the struggle, and the sacrifices are not meaningless. They are shaping us for greatness. Let's consider a personal example. Imagine a young woman who loved to sing. She had a beautiful voice but was too afraid to perform publicly. Every day she practiced alone, hiding in the comfort of her room. Fear whispered to her, "It's safer to stay quiet. Don't risk embarrassment." One day, encouraged by a mentor, she decided to sing at a local church event. She was terrified, but she remembered the words. The world offers you comfort, but you are not made for comfort. You are made for greatness. That single act of courage changed everything. She touched hearts, inspired others, and began to realize her true potential. That story is not unique. Every person that has moments when they can step beyond comfort and discover greatness. Greatness is not always about doing something monumental. Often, it is the small, consistent choices that define a life well lived. Choosing to forgive, remaining faithful to commitments, helping others despite inconvenience, and speaking truth in difficult situations. These are acts of greatness. They are often unnoticed by the world, but they honor God and transform lives. We live in a culture that constantly celebrates comfort. We are surrounded by messages telling us to relax, avoid difficulty, and seek pleasure. But God's plan for us is greater than ease. We are called to grow, to struggle, to serve, and to make a difference. Greatness is not something we stumble upon. It is something we choose every day through our actions, decisions, and faith. The world will offer comfort, but comfort is not enough. Comfort can make us content with mediocrity, blind to our potential and disconnected from our purpose. To live fully, to embrace the gifts God has given us, and to make a meaningful impact, we must step outside comfort. We must risk, serve, endure, and trust God. That it is the path to greatness.